I am ready.
All right. Before I start, I wanted to say that today is the last day for many of us members at the North York panel. And as of the next Committee of Adjustment hearing, you will get to meet many newly appointed members. So with the exception of Member Bartolo over here, everyone else will be new for the North York panel. So most of us committee members have completed the 8-year term, and we come into these roles because it is our way of giving back to the city that we love so much, and it's where we live and work as well. We all come from various professional backgrounds, bringing in our own unbiased perspectives and ethical approaches to rendering decisions that we hope are fair and in meeting with the city bylaw standards and requirements. I have watched us wrestle with decisions and sometimes even take it home with us just to mull over it and consider if it was the right decision made, because we understand the impact to all those who have vested interests in these applications. So on behalf of all departing members, I want to say thank you to the public of neighbors, neighborhood associations, developers, counselors, and others for sharing their perspectives and passion over the years. We hope that you give the new panel members a chance as they adapt to their new roles. And at this time, I wish to thank city staff for years of really good work, solid advice, and the administration efforts that go into each hearing. This includes the leadership of Simon Lan and other members of his team: Giovanna, Sam, Brendan, Irving, Teresa, Daphne, Jenny, Todd, Emily, just to name a few, and newly appointed Olivia. And then on the IT side, Patrick and others, and the former city members such as Alex and Dan Antonacci, who were staple figures here for many years as well. Also, the city teams in forestry, like Mr. Bostock and his team, transportation, heritage engineering, etc. And finally, the North York panel members, Nazila, Paul, Giuseppe, Isaac, the chair of Part B, Ron and Asif, Natasha, and other notable members who have been with us in North York over the years, like Denise and Bruce, Beth, and Derek. Thank you for your dedication, long hours during, before, and after each hearing as the team work, and all of the respectable perspectives over the years. And so with that, let's get started. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment consider applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that applies to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. We would like to begin this meeting with an acknowledgement that Indigenous communities have been part of this land and this area's history since time immemorial. We would like to acknowledge this land on which we reside and work with gratitude and respect. It is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and we encourage you to reflect upon your commitments both collectively and individually in taking steps towards meaningful reconciliation with Indigenous communities. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will begin their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. For anyone wishing to view the hearing, you may watch it on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Please only use one device at a time, as using additional devices can cause static noise, which will interfere with the audio of this hearing. And to ensure further audio clarity, we suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled and you will be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use the share screen or other panelist controls during a video appearance. The Committee of Adjustment staff will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you were originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak to the item. My name is Nadini Sankar Peralta, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are astute members for the North York Panel A, and that's Nazila Atarodi West, members Paul Kidd, Paul Kidd is being replaced today by member Ron Hunt, Giuseppe Bartolo, and member Natasha Manning. And some hardworking city staff who have also sung their praises this morning, Deputy Secretary Treasurer Simon Lamb, and in front of us, Brendan Clapp, Irving Bridgman, Sam Mozayani, and Antoine and Olivia. new hire. Behind the scenes, we've got Emily, Daphne, Teresa, Todd, and Jenny as well. And if I've forgotten anyone, please let me know. Okay, so receiving a copy of decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name and address and email address, because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, the TLAB, and in some limited circumstances, the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons, and public bodies, as those terms are defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Committee appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The hearing procedures today are as follows. I'm going to call each item in order of the agenda. When an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair if they still wish to speak to an item. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will ask that you summarize your remarks when you are reaching the 5-minute mark without exception. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing itself. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application only. the applicant or agent will proceed and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or in opposition to the application will be invited to speak. If more than one individual wishes to speak to the application, we ask that you try not to repeat the points already made by others. Generally, we will call on speakers in the hearing room first, and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker, and after they've finished their presentation, when members are all finished, the applicant or agent has the opportunity to rebut only the issues that were raised by the previous speakers within a 5-minute time frame. This will mark the end of discussion on the item, and the item will be taken into committee for a decision. Now, before we get started, I'll ask all members, anyone has a conflict of interest that they wish to declare? None noted, and then I'll turn it over to the Deputy Secretary Treasurer. I believe that there are minutes to be approved.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. The minutes of August 24th, 2023. Present were Member Adarodi, Member Manning, and yourself.
Okay, so can I get a motion from those members? Okay.
Motion to adopt the minutes.
Member Adarodi with a motion to adopt those minutes, seconded by Member Manning. All those in favor? And those minutes have been adopted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our second set of minutes is September 28th, 2023. Members present were Member Hunt, Member Adarodi, and Member Manning.
Okay, can I get a motion from those members? Member Hunt with a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Yeah. And seconded by? Member Adarodi seconds this. All those in favor? And those minutes have been adopted. And I will ask the Secretary, Deputy Secretary Treasurer, any more minutes or?
Through you, Madam Chair, that's it for today.
Okay, thank you. And so now let's look at deferrals, shall we? I understand that there is one deferral this morning, members, and there are no items to close. Can I just confirm that?
That's correct, Madam Chair. There are no items closed this morning.
Okay, perfect. So the items, members, that for the AM session is item number 13, which is 1 Courtleigh Crescent. If I can turn your attention to 1 Courtleigh Crescent, and the agent that's listed for this, let's just see here, is Agent Lauren Rose, and perhaps Mr. Rose is online. If we could just double.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So my name is Hannah. It's not going to be Lauren talking. It's going to be myself.
Sure. If you
and
could
that
state your full name and address, please, for our records.
Sure. Hannah Silver, 1 Courtleigh Crescent.
Perfect. So yes, if you can share with us the reason why you're asking for a deferral, but I think from the numbers of participants here, it might be to discuss with neighbors, but I'll let you explain.
For sure. So I wish I could have been there in person. I have a sick 5-month-old upstairs. So I was planning on being there in person, but that's okay. We would just like to defer really to have community consultation and be able to work with forestry to alter our design and just get support from everyone. We want to work with everyone. So we just need a little more time to be able to do that.
That's good. And I hope your little one is feeling better very soon.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's ask the members who might be present if they have any issues with the deferral, and we'll just go through them one by one just to double check. And we're only going to talk to the deferral, not to the application. I'll remind members. So let's start with the first person. And that person is on, well, in person. Let's start with Marissa Richmond. Is there a Marissa Richmond? And Deputy Secretary Treasurer, do you need them to come to the microphone just for their audio?
Oh, yes, please. If you're, sorry, I should have mentioned that. If you are here in the chambers in person, there is a podium and a microphone to your left. If you could kindly use that, just because we're broadcasting.
It's just that the YouTube wouldn't pick up on your lovely voice.
Thank you very much.
I'm happy with the deferral.
Yeah, if you can press the button and leave it on. There we go. Okay. All right, thank you so much. So we've got a Marissa Richmond asking for a deferral. She's with that. Let's move to the next in person, and that's a Jane Fleming. Is a Jane Fleming here? Yes. Yes?
I accept the deferral request.
You accept the deferral request. Okay, so we've got two of them saying it's okay. Let's see if there's anyone else in person. I've got a Jennifer Somerset. Thank you.
Yes, I accept the deferral.
Okay. Jennifer Somerset of 2 CORTLEIGH Crescent accepts the deferral. And we've got, I guess, Mr. Higgins as well. I see you noted on here as...
Thank you, Madam Chair. Peter Higgins of Peter Higgins Architect Incorporated, 69 Douglas Drive, and I'm representing Kathy and Simon Lewis at number 3 CORTLEIGH Crescent, and we agree to the deferral. It's very important, and we're glad we can defer it.
Okay, thank you. So another okay to defer from Mr. Peter Higgins of Peter Higgins Architect. Now let's move to the folks that are online, just to double check everything. We've got a, is it a Hosna Tasha or Tasha Hosna?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could state your name and address for our records, yeah?
Absolutely. Yes, it's Hosna Dasha from 250 Briar Hill Avenue, and we accept the deferral as well.
All right. And let's move down to Howard Bernstein. Howard Bernstein. Okay, we'll come back to him. Let's move to the next person on the list. Okay. Mr. Bernstein, if you can state your name and address for our records.
Good morning. It's Howard Bernstein, 230 Briar Hill Avenue.
Right. And so are you okay with the deferral request?
I am okay with the I'm okay with the deferral request. I guess my hope is that all involved will have the opportunity to engage in meaningful consultation, and such consultation will take place on a reasonable timeline for obvious reasons.
Right. Okay, thank you for that input. And let's then move on to the next person online. And I've got a Hannah or a Corey Silver.
Madam Chair, that's the owner.
Oh, okay, sorry. So let's move on then. A Christine Wilson.
Hi, it's Christine Wilson from 140 Rosewell. I accept the deferral.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's move on now to Tim Wilson from 140 Rosewell. I'm presuming if we've had representation from one member of that household. Okay, so we've already heard from Christine anyway. It's the same household. Let's move on to Joseph Bricker.
66 Briar Hill Avenue. I also accept the request for deferral.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bricker. Now let's move on to Ethan Rudderman or Sasha Kraus of the same household. I note that they were registered but didn't want to speak. If that's still the case, then we will honor that. And let's move on to Mary Ann Lee. And that's, Mary Ann Lee.
I'm actually here.
Oh, you're here. Okay, thank you.
I live at 248 Briar Hill, and I accept the request for deferral.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Okay, so that will be it for quite a number of speakers to this application. Members, do you have any questions of the agent or any of the area residents that have been here in person or online? There being none, let's turn it back over now to the agent, if there's any last things you want to say before we take this into committee.
I have nothing else to add. If you're asking me, I'm good for now.
Okay, great. So, members, can I have a decision on this deferral? Member Manning.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'd like to approve the request, make a motion for deferral. It's reasonable that they want to speak with the neighbors, and the neighbors are in support of that.
Okay, perfect. So we've got a request for a deferral from Member Manning, seconded by Member Atarodi West. All those in favor? And your deferral has been accepted sine die for community consultation. That means to the next available date as you proceed. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's move on now to the next. There is another deferral request, and that is for item number 12.
Through you, Madam Chair.
Yes?
As we are going to be leaving, I just wanted to say, as I found out yesterday in the Toronto side, so many members that I've worked with for so many years, and you have been so honorable and helpful. You truly do love this city, as do I, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you all. Those here, I'm finally seeing you in person after 3 years. And I'm glad I'm here today to be able to personally say thank you for all of your work, your good work, and staff as well. Sorry I'm not wearing my tie.
That's okay. You always sound so refreshingly like a CBC reporter every time you come.
Do I? Well, good luck to all in your future endeavors, and thank you for your service.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Okay, so while those members depart, thank you for those kind words. We will move on to item number 12, everyone. And this is number 1133 Avenue Road. And there is an Andrew Leung as the agent or applicant. Is there an Andrew Leung there? Oh, you're in person. There we go. Thank you. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Andrew Leung, planner from Glenschnar and Associates at 10 Kingsbridge Garden Circle, Unit 700 in Mississauga, Ontario. We're the planner agents for the registered owner of 1133 Avenue Row.
Okay, thank you. And please share with us why you're asking for deferral.
So we received a transportation report from staff yesterday. The report requested that an additional technical study to be prepared and for the drawings to be updated. Therefore, in line with the recommendation of the report, we're seeking for this deferral to give us time to prepare the technical report required for further review.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Members, if you don't have any questions, I can go to the number of area residents that are logged in here to speak. There are a couple in person, although I only see one. Let's see. Let's double check. How they feel about this deferral request. Is there a Juliana Drexler here? She's online? Okay, let's pull her online. Juliana Drexler?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, if you could state your name and address for our records.
Yes, Juliana Drexler, 260 Castlefield Avenue.
Okay, and are you okay with the deferral request at this time?
I am at this time, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you so much for that. Let's move to I'm saying Jana and Alex Brodbeck.
I'm Yana Brodbeck from 265 Castlefield Avenue, and I accept the deferral.
Thank you, Ms. Brodbeck. Denise Duncan. She's not here. Has she perhaps logged in? Okay, so if she's not here in person, maybe she got wind of the deferral request and is okay with it. So that's the only thing we can assume. So we're okay if you want to come back to the podium, sir. Members, do you have any questions of the preceding speakers or the agent? And if not, can I get a motion on the deferral? Motion from Member Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to propose a motion to defer in order to give the applicant an opportunity to prepare a technical report for transportation as per their request.
Sine die, Member Hunt?
Sine die.
Yeah, absolutely. Seconded by? Member Attarodi had her hand up first, and so all those in favor, your deferral request has been accepted. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, that being said, if there are no other deferral requests, and I'm looking at city staff to double check, then let's move on to item number 1. That's 44 EXBURY Road. Members, item number 1. Sorry, let me just pull my... Is anyone else having internet issues here? Pulling up the information? You're all good there? Okay, so item number 1 is to obtain consent to sever the property into 2 undersized residential lots to construct a new semi-detached home. It is in 2 parts, that severance. Please note that parts 1 it has 9 variances, part 2 has 10 variances. Engineering has a report on there, but there is no objection. There is an October 2nd staff report that recommends refusal. And of course, there are forestry conditions that seem to apply. And the agent here today with us is Bruno Lopez. Mr. Lopez, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, everybody, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Bruno Lopez from MXL Engineering, located at 1649 St. Clair Avenue West.
Okay, thank you. Were you aware of the staff report recommending refusal?
All of them. I read all through the paperwork listed from different departments.
So in light of that recommendation, how about you give us a 5-minute presentation on the merits of your case, and let's take it from there.
Absolutely. So the one thing that I'm missing already, it's the old projector. So I brought some paperwork that unfortunately we don't have a projector. So maybe for the next 80 years, if we can have a projector for next time, that will be really helpful.
And you're absolutely right.
It's the first time that I'm in person after so many years.
Yes,
right?
and we also had gone through a bit of construction of the outer layers, and we just haven't gotten to that yet, but very soon we will. So
we'll
sorry
try our
about
best.
that. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll do our best to give you the time you need. So
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So this is a process that actually started in May 2020. So it's about 3.5 years. Yes. So there was a lot of back and forth with planning, transportation, engineering, and was a big effort actually put in this application. So as you can see from, and if staff can please pull up the staff report. And we can start page 1. So on page 1, we have at the bottom of the page the dimensions that we have for this lot. So the existing condition of this lot is so unique on this neighborhood. So I did myself a lot of research, as planning did, and it's a very thorough report. I'm pleased to actually see how much effort was put in to actually make almost no doubts about what this application is about and the ins and outs about the non-compliances, the variances. So what we currently have, this is a corner lot, and it's a huge, big corner lot that has about 1.5 the area times the area of the required lots for these particular neighborhoods. So we decided to split because we see that we have a great opportunity here, and my client, the homeowner, she has 2 kids, and these 2 kids now becoming adults, and this would be a great opportunity actually to provide one house for each of their sons. So one of the lots will have 79% of the required area, and another lot will have 71%. Ideally, we would like to have it 75%, which is maximizing and bringing down them as close as possible to the requirements. However, and that's why this took 2.5 years, is that zoning examiner, zoning manager, so many people in the city, they didn't know what to do with this lot, because it's curved. So even the lot frontage, to define lot frontage was very difficult, because within the bylaws, there was nothing specific to this kind of scenario. This is a very, very unique scenario. Going to, if you can go for page number 2, the staff report, I can go on the variances one by one, so at least I can give a little briefing. One of the things that I read on the letters from the neighborhoods, or the neighbors that live in the neighborhood, that they come to somehow support the refusal of this application, was that we have a 3-story building. In fact, this is not a 3-story building, because later on I'll ask to do a front view. Actually, it's a 2-story with a basement. However, because of existing grading conditions, we have a technicality that we just can't get rid of, and we end up to have a 3rd story. So this is not a 3-story, and everybody's just going up in arms and say, oh, they're gonna put up a 3 stories. It's not 3 stories. It's 7 meters and change in height. So the first variance that we have 7.2 meters as a bylaw, and we have 7.62. So this is 0.42 meters, which is literally 16 inches. If we're talking about 16 inches, this is an issue. We have major issues within the city, I would say. The second one, that we have 9 meters of front yard setback. We have 875 for one lot, and the other lot we have a little bit more, which is 293. But again, because this is a curve, and the way it's curved as it comes in, we are very stranded. In terms of another one, which is the areas, we already further discussed, or already discussed a little, which is we require the 550 square meters. We are on 71% in one lot, and we are 79% on the other lot. So we are, I don't want to say too close, but we are in the big bulk of the need for area. In terms of the frontage, it's pretty much the same thing. So we need 15 meters, and we have one lot which is about 12 meters. And the other one is 13 meters. So, and even though, again, the outside lot, the corner lot, we have a curved, let's say, angle, so it's very difficult to actually define what frontage is. So we can actually have more than 50 meters if we go, you know, I don't want to say a biased decision, but if we see it from a different angle. In regards to have a semi-detached, and this is a detached home, this is again, through the city, I did my own research, and we have pockets where actually we have bylaw amendments, and that's the reason we are here today. This is a very unique situation. It's not this is going to be a precedent to start to slice and dice the entire neighborhood. It's not. This is just a lot that is really big, really odd shaped, and we can do something different with that, like the city has done in many different other places. In terms of variance number 6, which is the vehicle parking, actually this was discussion with transportation. We actually had the chance to put it the parking, the garage to be at the front, but transportation actually had the preference to do it at the back because sight lines and safety factor. There is another, the rear yard setbacks. Again, the rear yard setbacks, because the houses are in an angle, the closest corner kicks in. So if we pick the closest corner and the longest corner of each house, we're going to be quite aligned with the setbacks. Variance number 8, which is almost common for the two applications. It's 3-story, 2-story. Again, we are on a technicality, because if you really truly look at these houses from the front, it's only 2-story. Again, there is another situation with the platforms. Again, another technicality, because if you are aware, the 2 front platforms are on the 2nd level, and they are within the limits. I'm wrapping up. I'm cognizant about the time. And the rear platforms, because it's long items, I'm trying to go fast as I can. The rear platforms, actually, they would not count if we didn't have the technicality of a 3-story, because that will be the 1st story, not a 2nd story.
Okay, so I'll stop you there. And I know that other members will be able to ask questions, and you'll get a little bit more of a chance to respond as well.
Absolutely.
So at this time, let's turn it over to the members. Just to double check if you have any questions on the explanations provided. Member Hunt, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to clarify with the agent the height variance. You mentioned, I believe you mentioned that it's a total of 7.62, and the bylaw states 7, so you're asking for 0.62.
Actually, as it's through, Madam Chair, sorry. As you can see on the staff report, actually, we have it as a 7.2 meters allowed, and we are at 7.62. And in fact, if you look at the plans, the reason why we are that high is because we did a parapet wall at the top. So instead of having an ugly sloped roof, because again, it's going to be facing the street, we have more of a sleek design, and actually it's like a mini parapet wall that goes around that gives a little bit of a difference there.
Okay, so based on what you've said, then it's really a difference of 0.42.
Correct, 16 inches. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Members, do you have any other questions of the agent? Okay, there being none, then we have to make a decision on the severance of this property versus, the 2 parts. And you've heard the explanations that were provided. Should you in committee have further questions, we can open it up to the speaker. And at this time, if there are no other questions, can I get a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
through you, I believe there are speakers.
Oh, I am very sorry about that. I did not realize. So we do have a couple of speakers listed, and that gives members who were mulling over this a little bit more time to consider it. Let's start with a Patrizia and Phil D'Arienzo. Patricia.
Hi, good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry
Okay,
about
perfect.
that.
Sorry, I'm on my phone, and I've never been to a COE meeting, so excuse me if I'm not doing things properly. To stop me, but
you sound fine. You sound fine. I just wait, Ms.
Okay,
Patricia.
Am I just to reread what I submit?
If you can just state your name and address just for our records, and then we can hear what you have to say.
Sure. Okay. My name is Patricia D'Arienzo, and I reside and own at 45 EXBURY, directly across the street from 44 EXBURY, and the proposal.
All right. Thank you so much.
And
Go
Philip's
ahead.
unable to attend today.
That's okay. That's not
Okay.
a problem.
Okay. Am I to speak on what I submitted, or what do I do? Like, do I just reread what I submitted, or am I just questioning what the first speaker?
You could absolutely just share with us your concerns, and even if it's already submitted to us, this is your opportunity to say in 5 minutes whatever it is that you want to. And even if there are questions you wanted to ask, you can put that out there, and the agent will be able to respond to it given his time for rebuttal. So go ahead and explain whatever it is that you want to share with us.
So whatever I've already submitted, so that's already been read and reviewed by all? Is that how it works?
We would have read
do I
it,
have
but
to
this is
reread
your
that?
chance to share a bit more about that if you want to.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted further clarification on this 3-story versus 2-story, because the variance clearly states now he's stating that it is a two-story. I'd like further clarification on heights because the letter states 7.62, but when I'm reviewing the drawings online that were submitted, it's well over 8 meters above grade. I'd like to also clarify there's full healthy trees on this property. I don't see any mention of them, any of the submissions. Where are they going? Are they protected? The arborist report online only shows photos that were uploaded. I don't see an arborist report. That entire thing is missing. The balconies that are on both ends, so up on the EXBURY side and the Tavistock side, are over 3 times the allowable limit. So well over variance by 3 times. So they're going to be protruding, very invasive. I sit on my porch all the time, so I want that addressed. And the proposal of the driveways that are now onto Tavistock, they're now perpendicular, very unsafe. Tavistock is already a street without any sidewalks, and that's the main walkway to get to the park, which is 2 doors down, making it even more unsafe for our families, our kids, our pets, everybody. So definitely quite a few issues there that I'd like to bring up to air out again.
Okay, thank
so
you
if we
for
can start maybe on the height and the stories, or 3 versus 2, because to me the drawings looks like it's a triplex because I reviewed them online.
All right, thank you for that. We do have a couple more speakers before we give the agent a chance to address all of that, but he is noting all of that, and we'll get back to you. And just to share with you, forestry,
Wonderful.
urban forestry has already done some due diligence, and so that even if this application does go through, it will be subject to urban forestry and their due diligence as well. So not to worry about that. Some of the other things you might have mentioned may not be at the purview of this committee's decision-making capacity, but some of them indeed are important, and you know, the agent will get to it in a second, okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so members, do you have any questions of Ms. D'Arienzo at this moment? Okay, there being none, then let's move on to Danielle Oliveira. Daniel Oliveira. Are they online? Okay, so we don't see a Daniel Oliveira online, has not logged in, and they're not here in person. So if they're not here, then we only have that one. And the agent, if you can, share your rebuttal for Ms. D'Arienzo's concerns, that would be great. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, I heard carefully their comments, and again, it's reflected on the letters that a few neighbors send in. So again, the way this is calculated between being a 2 or 3 story is from the front average grade. And again, from the front average grade, there are 2 variances that they kick in as a technicality. One is the 2-story, 3-story, and the other one is the variance for the height. And again, the height is measured because we have this parapet wall that actually is protecting the flat roof that has sort of an ugly shape, if we might say so. When we have it, it's flat, but it's not completely flat. And to look at that minimum slantness to the front, it's like a no-go for architectural design. In regards to the trees, again, this was a major effort to try to keep the trees all in place. The trees, they're all going to be in place. We're going to provide a tree protection zone as per building permit requirements, so the trees will be protected. And that's the reason why we have this arborist report that everything will stay intact. Even so, the tree that exists right now at the front driveway will be removed. So as a question, and an explanation as well, there is a report from engineering that we are very clear about their sort of demands in terms of us to fulfill to get the application approved. And one of them is in fact the driveway. The reason why we did the driveway the way it is at the back was just for the sake of clarity for the zoning examiner, but we are aware that the end of the property line, we're gonna do sort of a little bit of a curve, so we come into a 90-degree angle. in terms of the balconies being invasive, I'm a bit surprised because if we call these front balconies invasive and they are within the legal size and limit, all the windows in the house is invasive. So we do understand the privacy. And again, this design was so developed, and thank God to my architects in my team, that even the rear balconies, if committee members can see it, we actually indented in these balconies. So the only people that can see these balconies is the people themselves. So there is no way to overlook into neighbors or so. So the house, it's pretty much the same size. We did the second floor actually indented in, so for shadow purpose and so the house next to us is actually a monster. So if we talk about size, massing, and shadowing, they are the other ones to my client, not us to them. And I believe I cover all the points. If I'm missing something, if I haven't.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Members, do you have any questions of Mr. Lopes? Okay, there being none, you've got some consideration of what the neighbor has said. You've seen the staff report. The application explains itself, and the agent has come in here to provide explanations of all of the different variances, as well as rebuttal what the neighbor has indicated and the questions that were raised. With that, can I get a motion, please? Okay, Member Bartolo with a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, in reviewing this application, I understand the applicant's arguments as it relates to a very unique shaped lot with a large round curvature and some of the math and analysis on it being difficult. I tend to agree with his arguments in that the lots are not particularly undersized and that the unique nature of it forces us to take a unique look at it. And on that rationale, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following conditions: that Section 1G of the Engineering Construction Services comments be fulfilled, and subject to the requirements of the urban forestry memo attached.
Thank you, Member Bartolo, with a motion to approve this application and making it subject to the engineering report as well as forestry. Can I get someone to second that motion? Seconded by Member Hunt. All those in favor? And all those opposed? You all put me in a position in front of him to say, I agree. So I'll move that motion, and your application has been approved with those conditions.
Thank you very
so much. Okay, so members, let's turn over to item number 2. Item number 2 is number 437 Roehampton Avenue.
Good morning. My name is David Pick from Pinpoint Engineering, Unit B58841 George Bolton Parkway in Ontario. I'm representing the homeowners, Lou Hager and Carolyn Webb, as their agent. So first, I'd just like to talk about some of the changes that we would like to move forward with, that we worked with planning on for this application. For item 1, we increased the soft landscaping in the backyard from 42% to 44%. This was achieved by reducing the size of the actual second-story addition, which allowed us to pull the driveway closer to the actual building and give us more grass space. One thing I would also like to know, the driveway that does come back to the garage is really just 2 paved tire surfaces with grass in between. The intent of the bylaw is to kind of allow water to drain appropriately through the ground rather than across the ground and flood other areas. I know the bylaw states that, you know, the driveway is the driveway, doesn't matter what it's made up of, but I would like to just let you know that there is other areas for the water to drain through the driveway as intended by the bylaw. For number 2, there was no change. Number 3, we had no change. Number 4, we had no change. In item 5, we did reduce the building height. We achieved this by going from a monoslope to a gable style roof. We were able to bring down the one side quite a bit. We've gone from 6.4 meters down to 6.226. So we've dropped about 8 inches or so. Item number 6, we no longer require it as we made the accessory building smaller than the main building. We achieved this by removing the addition on the main floor, as well as removing about 3 feet of the second story to bring the overall gross floor area smaller than the main residence. So we no longer require this variance. For item number 7, we also no longer require the variance as the percentage of the accessory building is now smaller than what the zoning bylaw requires, which is 20%. I believe we come in at about 18.5% of the lot area. And item 8C, the garden suite building is now 89.31 meters squared, which is a reduction from about 98.4. That was achieved by, there again, reducing the main floor addition and reducing about 3 feet of the second story. One reason, I'd just like to talk about some of the reasons as to why the owners would like to do this garden suite. It's to allow their daughter and her 3 children to have their own space on the property. One of their children has autism, and Lou and Caroline are their guardian when their daughter is working. So they greatly needed this space, especially for the autistic child, in order to create a consistent environment.
Okay,
for them.
if I can just have you pause for 1 second. Member Bartolo has a concern.
Okay.
Good morning. When you were listing your amendments, it appears that your amendments were different or got out of order from the 10 variances that were here. I don't know if the order is different. I was just, unfortunately, we're gonna have to. I have the same. A couple of us have the same problem.
Oh, sorry.
So I have to circle back and check those from the beginning, please.
Yeah, okay. So can you scroll up a little bit on the screen so I can see what's there? So the 50, okay, so number 1, 50% of the landscaped area. So yeah, that one was number 1. So we increased that to 44%.
Got that.
Minimum required yard setback is equal to half the height of the building, which is 3.2 meters. The proposed rear setback is 1.2 meters. Yeah, that one has not changed. Number 3 has also not changed. Sorry, I believe some of these were together on my list. Number 3 has not changed. Number 4 has not changed. Number 5, no part of an ancillary building containing the garden suite may penetrate any area of the following. Yeah, so the angular planes, we have reduced the projection into those angular planes by going from the monoslope to the gable style roof. We still do project into the plane, but we don't project as much. We worked with the planning department on that to come up with something that we felt was minor in nature. Number 6, no part of an ancillary building containing the garden suite may penetrate any of the
Is there a
following.
revision to number 5 or an elimination of number 5? Or is it stayed?
It's a revision, not an elimination.
Okay, so what?
Or sorry, the rear yard. Sorry, I'm mixed up. The rear yard does
Number
not
5
change.
on screen. Does not change, does not.
Yeah, number 5 does not change. Number 6, which I believe is the side yard angular planes, they are the ones that have the revision where we change to a gable roof as opposed to a monoslope.
Right,
and it reduces. It doesn't eliminate.
It does not eliminate. It reduces it. And what's the numerical difference?
Top of my head, I think it was a couple of feet on that side that we came down. I can't remember.
I should say it remains within the angular plane, number 6. It's not eliminated.
Yeah,
it remains.
No, it's not eliminated. It's just reduced.
Understood. Okay. Carry on, please.
The maximum allowable building height for number 7 is 6 meters. Originally, we proposed 6.4. Now, because of this reduction in the roof style, going from the monoslope to the gable, we've reduced it to 6.266 meters, so a reduction of almost 8 inches.
6.26.
From 6.4. We're about 6 inches or 8 inches, somewhere in there, on the reduction of that height. For number 8, the interior floor area of the ancillary building containing garden suite must be less than the gross floor area. So we have reduced that gross floor area down to less than 151.5 meters squared. And we did that by removing the main floor.
So that
And
variance
reducing
is
the-
that variance is eliminated.
Yeah, it's eliminated.
Yeah, 8 is eliminated, yeah.
And number 7, did you say 6.2 or 6.26?
6.26.
Gotcha. Okay. Number 9.
Number 9, this one is being eliminated as we no longer exceed the 20%. We've reduced it down to 18.57 or 18.6.
Got it. And number 10.
And number 10, the lot area we've reduced from 98.38 down to 89.3, but it still remains as a variance.
89.3. Okay, that clarifies all the changes for me. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to double check if city staff captured all those changes or everyone's okay. All right. That being said, and if there are any other questions of Mr. Pick from committee members, there being none, then let's move on to the area resident logged on here, and I'm not sure if they're there. I'll turn to staff, but it is an Anne Monroe that I've got noted.
Yes, I'm here. Anne Monroe is here.
Yes, thank you.
Hello.
Can you state your name and address for our records, please?
My name is Anne Monroe, and I live at 447 Roehampton Avenue, the property immediately east of the one in discussion.
Okay, and tell us your concerns about this property and development.
Well, our primary concern deals with the extraordinarily oversize of the building. It is a city's 60 square meter allotment for a garden suite, and they're still pushing up almost to 90. It's 89.31 square meters. I wonder then, what is the validity of having a 60 square meter amount if you can just negotiate it to a larger amount? I'm also concerned with the open space. The survey shows 2 garden sheds present on the property at the moment. We understand from the owner that one of those sheds is to remain, so this will increase the coverage and decrease the open space from the values that have been shown on the plan, but this has not been addressed by the city staff report. I also have a problem with the tree. We have a very mature pine tree that, according to the city arborist's report, will require a tree injury permit for potential excavation damage, and we notice there will need to be at least 2 mature limbs removed from this tree. It's over 70 years old, and I understood the idea of garden suites was not to interfere with the tree coverage or private adjoining trees. Our last point, well, we also worry about the angular plane, but I'm glad that they've dropped the height from 22 feet to 16 feet on our side of the property. But there's an accuracy problem with the site plans because it indicates that the distance from the front face of the building to the street is the 195 meter distance, but the lot line doesn't start at the sidewalk. It starts 7 meters up from the street. That, together with the sheds that were never shown on the site plan, makes me wonder about the accuracy of the drawings. The designer maintains that our sight lines will not be affected due to tree coverage in our backyard, but this is not true. We can fully see their garage from our upstairs windows, so we will definitely be impacted by the vision of the garages, the upper part of the garage from our windows. I'd also like to mention that there are several letters of support that have been filed for this application, but none of them are immediately adjacent as we are. They are on the north side of the street mainly, and a number of them are almost a half a block away to the east. So there's no impact to them at all from this development. So these are our concerns. I understand why the development is being asked for, but there is room in Mr. Hager's own house to put these children up. So I don't see that it's necessary to have such an enormous, practically secondary building put at the back of his property. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Monroe. Members, do you have any questions of this neighbor? If there being none, I'd like to invite Mr. Pick back on. And Mr. Pick, I'm going to give you a little bit extra time to not only respond to Ms. Monroe, but I do realize we interrupted your presentation and just wanted to also give you that extra time if in case there's anything that you would like to share with us as well on the merits of your application.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to respond to some of the comments. In terms of the 60 to 90 meters squared, due to the number of people living in or proposed to live in this space, that's why we're asking for the extra space within this application. We're hoping that you will approve this. I don't know what else to say about that. When it comes to the garden sheds, I have not shown them on our site plan because in discussions with the homeowner, they were going to be removed. And we still stick to the fact that we are going to be removing those sheds. So therefore, the lot coverage would be reduced and is accurate to what we are showing. With regards to the tree, if someone could bring up the arborist plan, the tree plan, be the next document down on the list, not the report, the plan. If you can zoom into tree number 6, it's at the back of the property, just before the shed, yeah, with the red, yeah. So tree number 6 is the tree that she's talking about. We have since removed 3 feet at the front there, so the impact on that tree will be reduced. The other thing that we are doing with our foundations is we are using helical piles. Helical piles are the least invasive type of foundation that we can do, and then outside of that, it will be a concrete slab in that area. So in terms of deep foundations, we don't need deep foundations all the way around. And with this new update, we have reduced the impact on that tree. With regards to sight lines and shading and things like that, there are large trees between this house and their house. I don't think we can minimize the impact on every single sight line from her house to this garden suite. There are other buildings to the south, which are very large, and you can see from any of the houses on that street, specifically the 10-story building to the south, which is more intrusive than what this garden shed would be. Trying to remember the other, the distance to the garage from the front property line. Those dimensions were taken from an original site survey. We then had an updated survey provided, which shows the 7.5 meters from the original house to the property line. We have not updated the drawings to that survey as of yet, but we can if needed. I believe I have addressed all the points that she had concerns with.
All right, and if there's nothing else that you'd like to say to committee members, then what I'll do is I'll turn it back now to committee members and ask if you have any questions of Mr. Pick. Okay, Member Atterodi with a question.
Yes, just a quick question. As far as I understood, the agent reduced the angular plane projected towards the side lot line, and then staff had a condition that we tie it to the angular plane project toward the side lot line be developed in accordance with the north and south elevation drawing. So with this modification, does it affect the north and south elevation drawing? And if you can repeat how much you reduce this angular plane? Thank you.
Yeah, so can somebody, is there a way to bring up the new proposed drawings as well as the original? And I can just show you the difference between the, if we go to the north and south. So if you go down to page, I think it's 10. No, page 8. 8 is the south. Page 8 is the south elevation. Up one more. So as you can see here, this is the gable style roof. Originally, I had a monoslope that went from the east, I think it's the east property line towards the west. No, sorry, from the west to the east. And basically the peak was right where that roof peak line was on the one side. Now both sides of the roof come down to that top of second plate area. So there was a reduction of about 4 or 5 feet on the one side. And we project into those angular planes much less than before. And that affects both the front or the north and the south elevation when you're looking at it.
Okay, does that answer your question, Member Attarodi? And we were just advised by planning staff that there's to be no sort of new attachments of revised plans, like they've made revisions here, but what they've already submitted, that's what staff has reviewed. So that being said, are there any other questions from committee members? There being no other questions, then can I entertain a motion, please?
Madam Chair, can I just clarify, if the revised plans are the plans in the staff report, it's okay? Should members approve the application to tie to plans? It's only a concern if they're different.
Okay. Do committee members understand what the Deputy Secretary Treasurer has just indicated? Okay, thank you. Whenever you're ready, a motion, please. Motion from Member Hunt.
It's not a motion, Madam Chair. It's a clarification. In the documentation, one of the objectors requested a deferral. Is that something that we need to entertain or make a decision on?
I did not realize that there was someone on the file that had requested a deferral. So if that is the case, that can be one of your options. You've heard, everyone speak to this. I think there was just the Ms. Monroe, but is that something, since you've heard the application, that can be one of your options as well, members, that if you should feel like having this item deferred, that can be an option as well.
Well, I guess I'm a little confused and concerned about the seeming uncertainty of what's been presented. So, referring to the opposition letter from Ann and Steve Monroe, in that they identified a reason that they couldn't be here, and if the matter refers, we ask that the hearing be deferred. I'm sufficiently, I guess, uncertain about this that I'm going to put forward a motion to defer this application to ensure that the the documentation for the committee is correct, and that the person requesting the deferral has an opportunity to be present and speak.
Okay, I'll have city planning staff chime in.
Madam Chair, that's appropriate for you and the committee to consider a neighbor's deferral. However, before you make your final motion, you should allow the applicant to respond to the neighbor's request for deferral. So let the applicant have a chance to speak regarding the deferral from the neighbor before you make your decision on whether you want to go forward with the neighbor's deferral.
Okay, so what we'll do is let's pause that motion from Member Hunt. Let's park it for a moment. Let's get the agent back on, because I do believe, Member Hunt, when you quoted what was on file, we did hear from Ms. Monroe. She was the one who did previously speak. She shared her concerns, which he had addressed. But let's hear the impact of this to the agent should we decide to defer. So, Mr. Pick, are you there?
Yes.
As you can
I'm
hear, there's a consideration from Member Hunt, as well as, picking up on what was sort of requested on the application from the neighbor, that, perhaps this application should be deferred. And if it is deferred, to give a bit more time for you to either discuss with the neighbor, as well as to revise the application in a way that makes sense and is very clear for committee members and all involved. How would this impact you if we deferred this sine die, meaning to the next available hearing, to give you that chance to work on this a bit more?
Well, I know the homeowner would not like to defer this time. I know it's been a very lengthy process for us to get to this stage. We have had a few delays going through the zoning department to try and get some information from them to determine these variances. I know the homeowner is really needing to try and get this built so that they can have a space for their family members to reside. Currently, they are residing in the main residence, but the main residence just isn't big enough for all of them in that space. The other thing I would ask is maybe what you would look to have clarified. Most of the items that I talked about today have been presented in the revised drawings that have been submitted to the committee. They were done in conjunction with the planning department to reduce impact from the original. And the only item that I see is maybe a incorrect amount would be the distance of the garage from the main street, which in the zoning bylaw is not under variance review. Yes, the sheds are not shown, but they aren't shown because we are going to be removing them.
Okay, I'm going to pause you right there. So you've explained a bit about the impact of that, and committee members have heard you, and you've gotten already ample opportunity to explain your application and rebut as well. So let's turn it back over to committee. Do you have any further questions of the applicant? And should there be none, we did have a motion from Member Hunt here to defer this application. I would ask Member Hunt, have you changed your mind on that motion, or would you like to proceed?
Well, given the response from the agent, I'll withdraw that motion, and the decision can be made by the committee.
Okay, so Mr. Hunt withdraws that motion to defer. If that's the case, can I get a new motion from members of the committee? Member Bartolo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, obviously reviewing this application has several different facets to it, and I understand the concerns of the neighbors, and I think the applicant has done a good job working with the city staff to achieve something that they believe is reasonable and has taken great consideration, and the city is taking great consideration in issuing their staff report. And then with that in mind and on that basis, I will put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following revisions. Variance number 1 be reduced to 44%, or correction, soft landscape area increased to 44%. Variance number 7 be reduced to 6.26 meters. Variance number 8 and 9 be eliminated. Variance number 10 be reduced to 89.3 square meters, and subject to the conditions of the urban forestry memo attached.
Okay.
And the staff condition that it be developed substantially in accordance with the angular plane drawings submitted as part of that report.
Motion from Member Bartolo to approve this application subject to those conditions, seconded by Member Attarodi. All those in favor? And all those dissenting? Member Hunt dissents. Your application, Mr. Pick, has been approved with those conditions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just keep in mind when you need a break to just take one when you
Yeah,
need to.
absolutely. Do you want to take one right now? How about we just hear the next one because there's no one to contest it, and then we'll move on to a quick break. So the next application, application number 3, is 273 Cranbrook Avenue. We've got a Joe Dome on there. Mr. Dome, are you there?
Yes, my name is Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owner.
Great. There's no one to speak to this application. Members, just to let you know, it's 8 variances. Forestry does apply. There is a transportation report of October 5th, but there is no one to speak to the application. Do you feel you require a presentation on this item? Okay, there being none, let me just ask the agent, Mr. Dome, do you have anything you'd like to share with the committee members before they take this into committee for decision making?
Yes, I'd just like to point out that after discussion with planning staff and as per the staff report, we would like to amend variance number 7 and remove variance number 8 regarding the front landscaping and front yard soft landscaping.
So you are making modifications. So what did you say? You are removing which variance now?
So variance number 8 would be eliminated.
Okay, variance number 8 eliminated, and
variance number 7 would be amended to 46.59%.
And variance number 7 is to 46.59%?
Yes.
Okay. Any other changes?
Yeah, and no, those are the only changes. And after making these changes, planning staff have no concerns. I do have a short presentation if you would like to hear it, but if committee is comfortable to proceed, then that's okay as well.
I think it seems like they are comfortable to proceed. Unless there's any questions, members, then we'll take this into committee for a decision, noting those changes to make the application better according to the agent. Member Attarodi with a motion.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 7 regarding a front yard landscaping is now 46.59%. Variance number 8, the front yard soft landscaping is eliminated. And also would like to add the condition that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment report number 1 attached, and also that any approval by committee include a condition requires the applicant to apply for the Toronto Water technical review for reverse slope driveway, and that the proposed reverse slope driveway receive approval by Toronto Water. This is as per staff report dated September 27, 2023, and subjected to urban forestry, condition number 1. And I know that transportation had no objection, so that's my motion.
Okay, motion from Member Attarodi to approve this application with those conditions. Can I get someone to second? Seconded by Member Hunt. All those in favor? And your application has been unanimously approved with those changes, Mr. Dome.
Thank you very much.
I'll turn to members. Do you want to do one more and take a break, or do you want to take a break now? Okay, so I'm hearing that we could just go on to at least one more. Item number 4, we have is 167 Parkhurst Boulevard. Members, this item has 10 variances, forestry. There's been 2 letters of objection, one of which is the Leaside Residents Association. There is a staff report of October 5th to modify variances 1, 5, 6, and 7. Let's bring out the agent, Jonathan Benskowski. Mr. Benskowski.
Morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, committee.
Thank you. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Jonathan Benskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Great. And if you can share with us, the merits of your application, given that we do have someone to speak to this application.
Yes, so as per staff report, we will be making the following changes to the application. Variance number 1 will go from a 3-meter projection to 2.69 meters. Variance number 3 will see a reduction, variance number 5 will see a reduction from 17.63 meters to 17.12 meters.
Okay.
Variance number 6, they're exactly as they are identified here, Madam Chair. Variance number 6 will see a reduction from 0.72 meters to 0.6981. And variance number 7 will see a reduction in coverage from 40.13 to 37.96.
Okay, and so everything's already been put up on the screen there. I shall not repeat it. Members, if you have any questions, let me know. But perhaps if you can continue with your presentation. Mr. Benskowski, we do have someone here to speak to this application.
Yes, Madam Chair. One last thing, these plans have been submitted and are on the AIC dated October 12th. So that could be any decision, if meritorious, could be tied to that set of plans dated October 10th. Yes, if we could actually go to the second floor plan, please. In terms of the variances that are before you, the only variance that's I don't want to use the word misleading. I actually believe those are the original plans, not the revised plans. I think they're dated October 10th, the ones on the AIC with the reduction in the length, which is really what I'd like to spend a couple of minutes speaking to. So what's a little misleading from the length variance that is actually being requested is that length is only appropriated for a small bathtub on the second floor. That projection there is the only portion of the dwelling, be it above grade or below grade. I'm just seeing the gray screen. Is that what everybody is seeing?
Okay, this is getting pulled up at the moment, so if you give us a moment, but please continue with your presentation while that screen is coming up.
Yes, so the actual building length of the dwelling minus that small bay on the second floor for the tub in the washroom is 16.1 meters. So when we look at that FSI increase that we're requesting, it's really essentially tied to only one built form request from the zoning bylaw, which is that building length, which again has been reduced to be only 0.12 meters above the zoning bylaw requirement and is only for a small portion on the second floor. I believe, yes, this is the correct one. If we could go to the second floor. So if we zoom in, the only portion of the dwelling that we see there, that's 17.12 meters, is that small tub area on the second floor. The rest of the dwelling is 16.1 meters in length. In terms of the side yards, they are compliant with the zoning bylaw standards. The request for the expansion of the eaves is again just as a result of the roof design. The request for an increase in the building height is for a modest 0.35, essentially meters, or 14 inches approximately over the zoning bylaw permission. If we could go to one of the side elevations, please, just again to illustrate that bay and where that overhang. Yes, if we see there, that again is the only portion that again is over the 17 meters and is 17.12. Again, the reduction in the projection of the rear deck is also significant. And what we see here is the actual grade, even though this is a dwelling with a 2-car and 2 floors of living above the integral garage, the projection and the height of that deck at the rear is not invasive or will not cause any type of adverse impact to the adjacent neighbors. Additionally, we have proposed privacy screening on that deck to the rear. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Members, do you have any questions? Okay, there being none, we do have one person online to speak, and that's Meng Zi Sun.
Hi,
if you could state your name and address for our records, please.
Yeah, hi. This is Meng Xie Sun from 165 Parkhurst Boulevard, and our house sits right next to 167 Parkhurst on the west side. And I want to take the opportunity to thank the esteemed members of the hearing committee for giving us a forum to voice our concerns. I do have a number of concerns with the variance, minor variance exception it's seeking. So the first one is point 4. The permitted by bylaw is 7.0 meters. The height of all side exterior main walls is seeking for 7.5 meters. On the west side, we have a master bedroom that has 3 windows facing 167 Parkhurst. And I feel the extra high variance could negatively block the sunlight, and it might cause drainage issues, which will negatively impact our property. And then on point 6, I know that 167 Parkhurst, they have revised down the floor space index from 0.72 to 0.698, but that's still a very far cry from 0.45 times allowed by the bylaws. We find it's not consistent with the intent of the bylaw, which only allows for minor variance, and that's a very big variation. And then on point 10, on the roof eaves, I understand it's a design of the house, but we just feel very uncomfortable with the fact that it's intruding really almost into our property. So by bylaw, it can be no closer than 0.3 meters. Now it's 0.2 meters. We have air conditioner and furnace unit on that side of the lot. And then as we know, the roof eaves are very important to divert water precipitation of the new build. And it's just not, we don't know why it has to be as such. And last comment I will have is in the interim period leading to the demolition, the owner of 167 Parkhurst has left the doors and the windows of the house open, which we feel, as among with other neighbors, that it really increases the risk of squatters coming into the neighborhood. And I have small kids at home. I haven't really, talked to the owner of 167 Parkhurst and really understand why they have to do that to raise the risk and dangers of that construction project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those concerns. Members, any questions? There being none, let's take it back to Mr. Benskowski, if you can address some of those that pertain to the committee application.
Yeah, in terms of air conditioners and furnaces and all of that, this is a new dwelling that would be subject to a grading plan if approved, and all water would have to be retained on the site itself. In terms of the E projection, again, this is zoning bylaw compliant with the side yard setback. That eave encroachment really, again, is just due to the sloped roof. Again, the dwellings, both to the east and the west, share essentially a similar side yard setback to the proposal. The speaker before, again, has a matching proposal on a renovated, newly designed dwelling, that would have essentially a similar eve encroachment to where we are today. In terms of the FSI going from 0.45, that 0.45 FSI would essentially be able to accommodate a one-story dwelling with a small room on the second floor. Again, when we look at what's leading to that increase in FSI, we see only that 0.12 meter built form feature on the second floor that leads to that increase in the FSI. Save for that, the dwelling itself is again only 16.1 meters in building length. I'm very familiar with the Leaside Side neighborhood. This dwelling would fit in with the surrounding streetscape, both of Parkhurst as well as the overall neighborhood itself. And again, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Thank you, Mr. Benskowski. Everyone, committee members, do you have any questions? Okay, there being none, you've heard the objections of the neighbor. You've heard what Mr. Benskowski had to say. 10 variances, forestry applies. There is a Leaside Residents Association letter as well as 2 letters of objection on file, but the staff report has been addressed where those modifications have been made. Can I get a motion, please? Motion from Member Attarodi.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. I've been satisfied with this modification that this application is minor. Therefore, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following modification. Variance number 1, the rear deck projection is now changed to 2.69 meter. Variance number 5, the building length is now 17.12 meter. Variance number 6, FSI is 0.6981 meter. And variance number 7, the lot coverage is now 37.96% as per applicant request and also as per staff report dated October 5th, 2023. And also would like to subject it to urban forestry condition number 1.
Thank you,
That's
Member
my motion.
Attarodi. With a motion to approve this application with those conditions. Can I get someone to second that? Seconded by Member Manning. All those in favor? This application has been unanimously approved with those conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, committee.
All right, members, to give city staff a break as well, let's take 10 minutes. We'll be rejoining you in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll invite the members to come back on. Our break is up, and we're going to begin again with item number 5. Just awaiting members to come back. Oh. Just inviting members to come back. We are starting up again. We do have quorum right now, so while members are coming back, let me introduce item number 5, and that is 6 Parklea Drive. Item number 5, 6 Parklea Drive, we've got, it's a proposal to construct a new 2-story single-family dwelling with attached garage. Please note that there are 13 variances. There is a staff report of October 5th asking us to modify variances 4, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 13. But there are 5 letters of support and just 1 letter of objection. There's no one here to speak to this application. Let's invite the agent, Jennifer Scholes, out, please. Ms. Scholes, if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Jennifer Scholes, 68 Wimbledon Road, Toronto.
Okay, Ms. Scholes, if you are able to, let me just double check with, first of all, if you're making modifications to your application in light of the staff report.
Yes, the application has already been updated, and there is a revised zoning notice in the file as well, reflecting those changes,
Yes,
and revised drawings.
If you could read those changes into the record for purposes of making it official, that would be great.
Variance 4.
Yes.
The required minimum side yard setback is 1.2 meters, where the required minimum lot frontage is 12 meters to less than 15 meters. The proposed west side yard setback was 0.625 meters, and it has been modified and increased to 0.778 meters.
Okay,
variance number 7.
Go ahead.
The coverage has been reduced to 34.5%, so that variance has been eliminated.
Okay, variance 7 eliminated. Variance 4 is 0.788 meters. And go ahead.
778.
778 meters, 0.778 meters.
Variance number 8.
Yes.
The proposed building length was 17.712 meters. It has been reduced to 17.41 meters.
Okay.
Variance number 9 was 0.7 times the area of the lot. It has been reduced to 0.673 times the area of the lot.
Go ahead.
Variance number 11. The proposed front yard platform was set back 0.625 meters from the west side lot line. That variance has been increased to 0.778 meters.
Okay, continue.
Variance number 12, the proposed eaves were set back 0.067 meters from the west lot line. The setback has been increased to 0.219 meters.
Okay.
And variance number 13, the proposed front yard canopy was set back 0.74 meters from the west lot line. It has been increased to 0.892 meters.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other changes? That's it, right?
No.
And we've got
No,
that on
other
the
changes.
screen for members to take a look at. Members, as there's no one speaking to this application, I'm wondering, do you feel you require a presentation still on this application? Okay, I'm seeing that members are saying no at this time, so I'll ask Ms. Scholes, is there anything you'd like to share with committee members before they go into committee to make a decision on this application?
Just that my client has been very transparent with neighbors, obviously right from the beginning before they even submitted anything to the city. So, and they're longstanding members of the community. They've been living in the community since 2014, and they've done everything, in my opinion, to satisfy their neighbors and the planning department. So I feel pretty confident that we've done our part to be compliant.
Okay, thank you for that. Members, if there are no other questions, can we get a motion on this application with the changes that were made by the agent here today that you saw on screen? Noting that that satisfies the October 5th staff report, noting 5 letters of support and 1 letter of objection. Member Hunt with a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having listened to the explanation and with the changes that the agent identified, I would like to move a motion to approve this application with the following changes. One, a modification of variance 4, the minimum side yard setback from 0.625 meters to increase rather, to 0.778 meters. Now, before I go on, are these well enough established in the record that I don't need to repeat them?
Yes, they are.
Okay, then I'll change my motion to be approval subject to the changes that were identified by the agent.
Great, thank you for that. Member Hunt with a motion to approve this application subject to the changes made by the applicant here today and that were reflected within the application as well. Can I get a seconder for that? Seconded by Member Manning. All those in favor? And your application, Ms. Scholes, has been unanimously approved with those changes you made here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Members, let's move on to item number 6, which is 123 Overland Drive. Please note, members, that this is a proposal to construct a 2-story dwelling with a covered porch, rear walk-up, rear deck, and 2-story garden suite. It has 5 variances. Forestry conditions seem to apply, and there's also a staff report asking for modifications of variances 2 and 5. There seems to be 7 letters of objection and about 11 letters of support. Let's get the agent out, and that is Ruyan Zai. Ruyan Zai, are you there?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ruyan Zai. The address is 123 Overland. So I'm the architect and also the owner of this project.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Because there is someone here to speak to this application, can I get you, I'm presuming you're the person, right? He's present. Can I get you to share the merits of your application? You have 5 minutes to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I would like to start with, we do not have the number 5 variance anymore. I know it's showing on the public notice of a 3-story house because we didn't get the updated zoning notice on time.
Okay, so you're eliminating variance number 5, you're saying?
Yep, number 5 is eliminated.
Any other changes before you move on?
Yes, and also for the front yard setback, we also increased to 7 meters. That's the
Okay, so
recommendation
this is
from the
item
planning
number,
staff.
variance number 2 has been increased to what?
That is number, yes, correct, number 2.
Number 2 has been increased to what amount?
7 meters.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you clearly. 7 meters, did you say?
Yes, 7 meters is being increased. That's for
All
the
right.
Number 2.
All right. Are there any other changes?
So that's all.
Okay, there being none, if you can continue with your presentation, that would be great.
Thank you. So now we have 4 variances, which is related to the building height, the front yard setback, the coverage, and also the front exterior stairs. So the proposed building height is slightly higher than the required 7.5 meters, so which we have 8.19 meters. So because of the modern style, we have a pure flat roof, which is a bit challenging to achieve the required building height in most of the modern style. And it happens a lot actually in the same neighborhood. The direct example I can give is our neighbor at 127 Overland, which is only one house between us. If you could please go to the presentation of page 3, please. Yeah, so 127, that's our neighbor, only one house between us. So it's also a modern style with a flat roof height. They have 8.63 meters. So we are almost half meter lower than them. So we're trying to be respectful to the neighborhood by providing higher buildings than the newly built ones. The second one, as I mentioned earlier, so it's the front yard setback. So we increased the setback to 7 meters now after consulting with the city planning staff. So right now we're slightly shorter than the required 7.71 meter. But I have to point out that 1/3 of the front facade, we actually have almost 9 meter setback. To be exact, we have 8.93 meters, which is more than the required front yard setback. And on top of that, we recessed part of the first floor. If you could go back to the site plan, please. Yeah, so if you see the dashed line, that's the recessed part of the first floor. You can see from the dashed line of the site plan. So that is we have more of this portion of the first floor, so it's almost close to the required front yard setback. So the next one we have is the coverage, so which we have 30.58%, which is a little bit more than the required 25%. So the coverage we ask is actually consistent with the new development in the same neighborhood. We are not asking more than other people. So I consulted with the city planning staff and they have no concerns about it. The very last one is the front exterior stairs. So we are at 3.1 meter wide, which is a little wider than the required 2 meters. So I believe this variance is very minor in nature. So with all these 4 variances, we have no sharp contrast with the neighborhood, and we respectfully follow the streetscape. We consult with the planning staff. They have no objections. I do understand some neighbors have concerns, but we also have 11 support letters from the neighbors, including our immediate next door neighbor. So thank you very much. I'm more than happy to answer any questions from the committee and also the neighbors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we do have someone who is in, if there are any questions of the committee members, there being none, let's invite Mike Sheehy to the microphone. And if you could state your name and address, sir, for our records. Thank you.
Sure. Mike Sheehy, 20 Brookwood Court.
Thank you. And if you can share your concerns about this application with us.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today and represent several neighbors that are objecting to the variances on the planning application. The request is to build not one, but 2 buildings, both with full basements. The location of 123 Overland Drive is situated on floodplains, as 1 Tottenham Drive found out several years ago due to their when doing their rebuild. For the record, 1 Tottenham Drive is directly opposite to the subject property. This property had plenty of water issues coming up through the soil when excavating the basement area foundation. Eventually, they had to use water buoys for the foundation flooring. This is a concern to my property that connects at the rear of the subject property, and that my property sits 5 feet below their tableland of the subject property. This is not my only concern. Directly to the east of the subject property are high-pressure oil pipelines filled with nitrogen belonging to Sun Canadian, Imperial, and Trans-Northern pipelines. Any excavation on the east side of the property has potential hazards. As neighbors, we are not opposed to development in the area, but it seems every new applicant believes they are entitled to height variances and coverage variances because of other new builds, as the lady mentioned, number 127, Overland, down the 2 doors down, was approved several years ago. We as ratepayers should be protected by guidelines and bylaws in place set out by the City of Toronto. I respectfully request, with all the hazards on and surrounding the subject property, the prudent thing to do prior to any decision for this hearing would be to inspect the potential hazards, do some due diligence, and, if satisfied, only approve within the permitted guidelines and bylaws in place for height and coverage allowed in the area by the City of Toronto. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Members, do you have any questions of Mr. Sheehy? Okay, there being none, let's then invite Mr. Jai back to the microphone. If you can share with us, you know, a rebuttal to the questions and concerns raised by Mr. Sheehy.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. So I did talk to Mr. Shi before. They do have some concerns about the flooding issue, the garden suite, but the pipeline of the oil, he never mentioned to me. I'm not sure how much this is related to the zoning, but I'm sure when we do the construction, you know, we have the on-site locate. We will make sure we are not intruding any of the underground pipe or any sort of pipes. So we will do our due diligence to make the locate correctly and on time. So Mr. Sheehy also have the concern about the flooding issue. So again, I'm not sure this is related to the zoning, but we will make sure, and I'm actually very confident we can address this at the building permit stage with our professional engineers with the grading plan. So other than that, so regarding the building height, the coverage, setbacks, so we actually respectfully followed the new development in the same neighborhood. We are not asking more than others, so we are actually lower even than other new development. So with all the respect, I hope this can address Mr. Sheehy's concern. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Members, do you have any questions of Mr. Zai? Or any further questions as we've got Mr. Sheehy in the room? Okay, there being none, let's take this into committee for decision-making. You've heard the changes made here by the applicant today, eliminating, you know, variances 5 and reducing or increasing variance 2 to 7 meters. 5 variances, forestry applies, and 7 letters of objection, but there's 11 letters of support, as well as someone in the audience with us today, Mr. Sheehy, who's raised his concerns, and you've heard the rebuttal from Mr. Zai. Can I get a motion, please? Member Bartolo with a motion.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly in addressing Mr. Sheehy's concerns, on a technical perspective, this committee doesn't really have much of a purview with respect to the proximity of existing utilities or the water table or whatnot. I understand your concerns, and the city staff will deal with that at the building permit stage to ensure that everything's done safely and properly. With respect to the concerns about height and density, while I understand and respect those concerns, I do recognize that the neighborhoods change and are not necessarily static formations. I do believe what the applicant has proposed is generally in keeping what's happening with the neighborhood and is not of a large detriment. Therefore, I will put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following revisions. Variance number 2, front yard setback be increased to 7 meters. Variance number 5 be eliminated, and subject to the conditions of the urban forestry memo attached.
Thank you, Member Bartolo, with the motion to approve this application subject to the changes made by the applicant today as well as forestry, seconded by Member Hunt. All those in favor? Okay, this application has been unanimously approved. Thank you, parties, for coming out.
Thank you very much. You all have a good day.
You too. Members, let's turn over to item number 7. Item number 7 is 21 Gresham Road. This application has no one to speak to it. And I'm just getting it up here right now. Please note, members, that this is an application to enclose the front porch. Please note that there are 3 variances and 3 letters of support. There's no one here to speak to this application. Let's get the agent out, and that's a Paige Raichi. Paige?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. If you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Paige Reisha. Address is 222 The Esplanade in Toronto, Ontario, M5A 4M8, and I'm the designer and applicant for this application.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll turn it over and ask members, do you feel you require a presentation for this application? There being none, Ms. Raishi, is there anything you'd like to share about the application, because they are wanting to take this into committee for decision-making right now?
Just that the owners would like to add that this addition for the front porch enclosure is just to add a powder room so that they can live on their main floor as they get older. So that's it.
Understood. Thank you so much for that. Members, if you have any other questions, if not, motion, please. Member Attarodi with a motion.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. It's a very straightforward application. Therefore, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Okay. Member Attarodi with a motion to approve this application without condition, seconded by Member Manning. All those in favor? This application has been unanimously approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's then move on to item number 8. Members, item number 8 is 52 Bentworth Avenue. Members, as you may be aware, this is an application to construct a new accessory structure or a garden suite in the rear yard of the subject property. It does have 2 variances, and there is about 38 signatures of support. Let's get the agent out. Ida Evangelista. Miss Evangelista, are you there? If you could state your name and address for our records, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Members, Ida Evangelista on behalf of the owner of 52 Bentworth Avenue.
Okay.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, members, I'm just wondering, do you feel you require a presentation for this item? There being none, Ms. Evangelista, do you have anything that you'd like to share with members before they take this into committee for decision-making?
Madam Chair, members, I believe the application is very straightforward. We have worked with planning in modifying the height of the garden suite to now 6.59, which they are quite happy with. We also did discuss the design of the garden suite, and we've determined that this garden suite, as it currently is right now, is very characteristic to the neighborhood. And that being said, I feel that, and I respectfully submit that what we're proposing is a form of intensification that does meet the 4 tests, and more importantly, the official plan as it now reads to introduce the garden suites to neighborhoods.
Okay, thank you for that information. Members, do you have any questions? If there is none, can I get a motion? Motion from Member Manning.
You, Madam Chair, I agree that this is a very straightforward application with only 2 variances. I'd like to, and with lots of neighborhood support, and no report from planning. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this application with no conditions.
Member Manning with a motion to approve this application without conditions, seconded by.
So, sorry for interrupting. The agent already modified variance at the height of auxiliary building as per staff request, and they also adopted the number 1 mentioned in the September 27, 2023. If you, that's a friendly amendment if you just accept, and also the other condition.
I'm sorry, are these changes that are new changes that
No,
are
this
not
is
already listed
something
in the
that.
application?
Sorry for interrupting you, Madam Chair. Through you, this is the modification that city staff recommended, and also the agent adopted, accepted.
Okay, so would you like us to just stand this down to ensure that she reads that into the record? I'll ask the Deputy Secretary Treasurer if that's proper protocol.
Through you, Madam Chair, if there are changes to this application, which is different than the public notice that was mailed out, the agent needs to read them out on record.
Okay.
I'm unsure if she's changed any of these variances.
Right, so let's double check that. Member Manning, would you like to just stand down your motion for a moment?
I will. Can I also ask, was this a late report?
I don't recall this being a late report. I have not received anything.
Yes, it was a
late
report.
It was.
We received it.
I missed it. Thank you very much, Member.
I must have missed it. So staff, can you pull that up a little? Right. Okay, so I did not see this. In light of that, let's get back to the agent, Ms. Evangelista. This is a late report that came in. I'm not sure, were you, I guess aware of it? You did make changes accordingly.
Madam Chair, members, I may have spoken about it rather quickly at the beginning of my comments, but yes, we did work with planning staff. We are changing variance 1 to now read 6.59 meters.
Okay, thank you for that. So then, members, please note that, and it's been recorded officially on the record. Okay, so let's get back to the motion then. If there are no further questions for Ms. Evangelista, I'll invite Member Manning again with a motion.
If I could just amend the previous motion made to take note of the change to variance number 1 from 7.5 meters to 6.59 meters, and I'll accept the friendly amendment from Member Adjerodi West as well.
Great. So Member Manning with a motion to approve this application with the changes made by the applicant here today, and I presume subject to the one condition that was already noted on there.
And also, through you, Madam Chair, also would like to add the property to be developed substantially according with the elevation drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment. Attachment number 1 is mentioned also as a second recommendation in the same report dated September 27, 2023.
Yeah, I believe that was the condition that we were noting.
Okay.
Is there anything else? Are you seconding this?
I will second.
Okay, great. So we're Member Adjerodi seconds that motion. All those in favor? Okay, your application, Ms. Evangelista, has been unanimously approved with those conditions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, members, let's turn it over to item number 9. Item number 9 is a 157 BANFF Road. And this is a proposal for a rear addition and remove rear detached garage and replace with a parking pad. Please note, members, that there is only one variance. There is a memo from Urban Forestry David Bostock, but there is no objections noted, and there's no one to speak to this application. I'll invite, I'm hoping I'm saying this correctly, Matt Jazz Scooby.
Morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, and yes, it's close. Mathias Scooby. I represent Innovative Designs and the owner as the applicant for 157.
Great, thank you so much. Did you state your address? I'm not sure if I had heard that.
No, I did not. 1127 Malcolm Creek Road.
All right, appreciate that. Let me just ask members, given there is no one to speak to this, and one variance and no objections from forestry, would you require a presentation on this item? Okay, there being none, let me ask the Mr. Shube, do you have anything that you'd like to share with members before they take this into committee for decision making?
Yes, we did, Madam Chair, we did work with planning to eliminate all the variances except for the one before you. We did receive the letter from forestry with no objections, of course, but they did mention that the parking pad may impact the tree to the rear now with the root system. Now, the parking pad might be misconstrued as a concrete pad, which is not what the intent is. It's just going to be a gravel pad so that it would have aeration on all the water penetration. So it would not affect the root system during construction. If that affects the, I don't think it affects the committee decision, I think, but it is a construction thing that I think is worth mentioning.
Okay, thank you for that.
As to that,
yeah,
have it. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that information. And there is no concerns from forestry, I might add. So given that, if there are no other questions, members, can I get a motion? Member Manning with a motion.
Hey, Madam Chair, this is a straightforward application with one variance that I believe is minor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the application subject to the conditions in the transportation report.
Okay, Member Manning with a motion to approve this application with conditions of the, hold on one second. Member Manning, did you see a transportation report? Because as I'm checking here, I did not see one noted, unless I'm wrong, and I want to make sure because there are some items that might be missing from my file. The other in-house members don't see that here. We did only get a memo from forestry, but there are no forestry concerns at this time. So perhaps...
Sorry, I might have made a mistake. Subject with no conditions then.
Okay, so Member Manning amending her original motion to approve this application without conditions. Seconded by Member Attarodi. All those in favor? And your application has been unanimously approved, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Members, let's turn our eyes to item number 10. Item number 10 is 33 BELLBURY Crescent. And I am just pulling up the information here. And we've got Gregory Kimmins. Is Gregory Kimmins on the line? If you can state your name and address for our records, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, Madam Chairs and committee members. My name is Gregory Kimmins from Kimmins Architect, living in 377 Riddell Avenue, Toronto, Ontario. I'm an agent of owner 33 BELLBURY Crescent for this application.
Right, thank you very much. And this application is to add a master bedroom above the existing living room and kitchen area of the ground floor, and alterations to increase the ceiling height of the second floor above the garage entrance, and an entrance porch reconfiguration and a new deck in the rear yard. This application does have one variance only. But there is someone here to speak to this in person. And so for that reason, I'd like you to provide a presentation on the merits of your application so that it gives the committee a little bit more information on, what your thoughts are.
I have no presentation materials at the moment.
Oh, if it doesn't have to be formal. It's just if you could explain what you're trying to do, and if there's anything you think that the committee members need to be aware of to consider this, and in light of the fact that we have someone here to speak to it as well.
Okay. Yeah, this house is site split house. The proposal is to add second floor, second story above the ground floor. If you take a look at the site plans, bottom left corner of the house, existing side yard setback is 1.315 meters. When you add second floor, it requires 1.8 meter side yard setback.
Okay, so there's only one setback variance. That's from from what is normally 1.8 meters to a 1.31 meters. So that's the only variance we're talking about here, because everything else is permitted by right. You've met the requirements of everything. Can I just ask then, is that normal and common in the neighborhood to have a 1.31 meter setback? Is that means yes?
Existing side yard setback is 1.3 meters. Yeah. When you add second floor, it requires 1.8 meters. So that's why I'm. This is application.
Okay, so you're saying that it does seem to be something that's common in the neighborhood as well, right? So that's my question. I don't know if anyone else had any other questions, committee members. If not, let's hear from Gregory Jun.
Gregory Jun.
Yes, there we go. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Gregory Jun. The Korean name is Young Jun, but the English name is Gregory Jun.
It's a lovely name.
And then my address is 37 BELLBURY Crescent. It's just right next door of the 33 BELLBURY Crescent.
Right.
And then this extension side is my side.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So you're impacted.
Frankly, I don't think impact.
Okay.
Yeah. So because neighbors should change their house more happier, greater. I have to support and help them, yeah. But problem is, in my situation, and then environment impact, especially when the construction worker places, they have dust and noise and vibration. So. Of course, there is a regulation and law in construction. So we have lived as a neighbor 18 years old, 18 years, for 18 years. Okay, if 5 minutes, please let me know. I'll stop and then hold that.
Yeah, you have about 3.5 minutes more, so go ahead.
And anyway, this cases happened several times, the neighboring dispute of their construction work. So a few years ago, there is a tree cutting they don't have any protection or notice, and then the dust comes to my house in the summertime, and then the debris of the trees all around in my backyard, and then we have the dry in the yard in the summertime. There are lots of damage there. And then I complain, but they cut off the complaint, and then they disconnect the communication. And then last month, suddenly, two strange people invade my property. And then doing something. I was very terrified. Problem is not me, not my wife. My wife is 67 years old. I'm 69 years old. We are retirement people. So we stayed at home 24 hours these days. And my wife is a very problem of her sensitive nervousness. Even she has a starting Alzheimer symptom. So she has very sensitive about the noise and vibration. And then we have 2 times lost car by the theft in our driveway. So her nervousness is very high.
I understand.
Yeah, and then last month, 2 stranger people coming in when I prepared for my wife lunchtime with some kind of tool. So, who are you? Why you come to my property? And then they said, oh, next door have a construction proposed, so they gonna calculate something, but there is a perfect fence between 33 and 37. And then they invade from front to without notice.
Without permission.
Yeah, without permission. So, so I asked to leave right now.
I understand.
Yeah, so, and then they say, they show their card. We are construction company. We are just calculate some of those, that extension maybe, that touches the fence or not.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there for just 1 second.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, no, only because your time is running out, but I know you've made the effort to come down here in person, and I can hear from you the real concerns for you and your wife in terms of just how the construction itself impacts you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really, you don't seem to think
Oh,
it's such
I don't
an
have
impact
issue.
on how they build.
Yeah, I don't have issue technical construction.
With the technical, it's just what the noise, the dust, debris coming on your side, as well as folks entering your property without proper notice and proper permission.
Yeah.
And so that gives you real concerns. Now, not all of those things doesn't get handled at this committee, but what I can do is let's bring the agent back out, because maybe he could work out some solutions with you in a neighborly fashion and a private agreement between the two of you.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be heard here today, but maybe that's something that he might be willing to do.
Yes.
So let's hear what he has to say. Let's bring back out members. Do you have any questions? And thank you for coming all the way here, Mr. Yuan. Let's hear back from Gregory Kimmins. Mr. Kimmins, can you come back on the line, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. So now you've heard Mr. Jung has made it all the way into, the chambers today in person because of his concerns. Now, those concerns don't actually get, heard from our end, but in line with the fact that there is a bit of fear and concerns for health issues and just the whole obstruction, is that something that you would be willing to talk to Mr. Jun about and work that out privately and have like maybe a separate meeting outside of this committee forum to do that?
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah, I think that would be a very nice neighborly effort if you can do something like that. Okay?
Sure.
So, and we've
Okay.
got that on YouTube. You can't come back on again.
I'm sorry, I cannot speak English perfect, understand.
That's
so
okay.
sorry.
He's going to set up a meeting with you,
Yeah.
separate and outside of this committee, to work out some of those issues. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. Yeah.
All right. And so there is no technical concerns that the neighbor has. He just wants a bit of respect for his premises, the dust, and just more communication to work out the things that neighbors do when construction is going on, so that it limits the impact to their health and their well-being and their safety in their own home. Okay?
Yeah. That's
All right.
what I came here. Thank you very much.
No problem. You're
Listen
welcome.
to my representation. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So committee members, do you have any other questions of Mr. Kimmel? Okay. There being none, let's take this into committee for decision making. Can I get a motion, please? Member Attarodi.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
This application, Member Attarodi with a motion to approve the application without conditions, seconded by Member Bartolo. All those in favor? And this application has been approved, and hopefully, Mr. Kimmel, you can have that conversation very soon with Mr. Jung. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let me do this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
All right, members, let's move on to item number 11. Item number 11 is 192 Haddington Avenue. Members, we do have someone to speak to this application. So Ali Malik, are you there?
Good afternoon. This is Ali Malik Sadeh, and I am agent and architect of the project. I don't know, you hearing me? I'm sorry.
Yes, if you can give me your address, please, just for the records.
It's 236 Les Mill Road,
All right, and this
Toronto,
is
Ontario.
thank you. And this is a proposal to construct a new two-story dwelling with a rear deck, rear walkout, and rear balcony. Please note that this has 9 variances. There is a staff report of September 26th that they're trying to honor with one condition only. There's one letter of objection as well as forestry conditions. Mr. Malik, because we've got someone to speak to this application, why don't you provide us a brief presentation of the merits of your case, and we'll take it from there.
No problem. If I can ask staff to just provide the site plan, and then after that the main floor, so I can explain. And then also there is a balcony in the second floor that the owner wish to eliminate. So that is going to impact to the 2 variances, like a 2 item in our list, which I am going to talk about it after this short presentation. So the proposed building is a 2-story above the garage, as a usual and regular proposal in the area. Some of the variance is related to the building length, which is that building length measurement is just related to the basement that is encroaching to the backyard, and it's under the ground, is not in the main floor. Our main floor proposed building length is 17.93, I believe. It was on the staff report, and so that building length is not impacting any part of the building above the grade. We providing a small mezzanine over the entrance, and then that provide as part of the zoning is caused the 3-story definition. But that mezzanine is not pushing the building height up. The height of the building that is proposed, it's been approved to this area for other our project as well. I did a project on 240 Haddington, same street. I did project in 152 Haddington with almost the same height. These are our own project and a few other projects in the area. So it's been approved and then is around the approval of this committee. So that mezzanine is not extending the building height. It's just we designed it the way that is within the height that we are proposing. So that definition of the 3-story, it caused the rear deck and then also second floor balcony as a 2 additional platform to the at the rear of the house, which we are going to eliminate one. Explaining that this definition is just bring other variances to the list, which cause that number of the variances in our application. Otherwise, the side yard setback, they are all complying. We also, the square footage, the coverage of the building is related again to the extension of the basement to the backyard. So the amount of the footprint of the building above grade is not extending the coverage as much, but that is just related to the basement. If I can ask staff to show the basement plan that illustrate. So as you see, this basement, we have a gym area that is extending over the back wall, where that we're proposing the walkout basement, and then that additional to the building length as well as the coverage as well. But when we go into the main floor, if I can ask you bring the main floor up, the next page. So as you see, the depth of the deck is that extension of the basement to the backyard. So the main wall of the main floor, the rear wall of the main floor is set back, and then our building length is not as much as that is in a basement. I am just going to the list of the variances, and in our item, I'm just raising here a little bit.
And I'll ask you to summarize very shortly, please.
I understand. So I am eliminating the item number 6.
So you're eliminating item number 6.
And then I'm eliminating item number 4 as well.
Okay, so just 4 and 6. Any other changes?
Yes. There is no other changes.
All right, great. So that being said, members, do you have any questions of the agent at this moment? Mr. Malik? There being none, let's move on to the next speaker that's noted, and that's a Mark Damone or an Elizabeth Damone. I believe that they may be on video. I'm not sure. Let's see, or on the telephone. If you can state your name and address, one of you, I believe, is speaking, Mark or Elizabeth.
My name is Mark Damone.
Yes. And your address, please.
And my address is 190 Haddington Avenue, the immediate next door neighbor.
Great. And can you share with us the concerns you have?
I mean, quite honestly, a lot of it is due to confusion. No one had come to speak with us, and this was my only opportunity to, I feel, voice any questions we had. We tried to speak to the planner, who also was confused by the plans, in addition to the applicant technician. I don't have a great deal of experience with this stuff, other than previously supporting other neighbors who had come to us in advance. my questions, I guess, the obvious ones include the coverage. The proposed coverage was listed on the plans at 33.5%. And when we received the notice and in front of us right now, we see it's 38.31%. So I just wondered first, most obviously, am I looking at the wrong plans? Why it would be incorrectly labeled? Should I continue?
Yeah, not a problem. You're doing really well for your first time. It's really just explain to us from what you've heard and what you've seen in the plans, even though you haven't had the chance to be consulted by the neighbor, which I hope they would have. Maybe if you can just share with us what those concerns might be and put it in your own words, it's okay.
Sure. I should also mention I'm here at the request of my 90-year-old neighbor who's on the other side of this house, and her concerns included she also has not been spoken with, and so she's trying to figure out if there will be a fence in between the properties and if they'd be removing I guess they're a combination of hedges that have turned into trees because they're so overgrown, but she appreciated the privacy. And then both of us together agreed that a privacy fence should be included wherever is typical as any condition of this development. I know they've told us just now they've removed one balcony, but I had trouble keeping up with that. I'm not sure if that was the balcony I was most concerned with. I don't think it was, in fact. We would have liked a privacy fence, on the second balcony. But the third floor balcony was also quite overreaching. It wasn't huge by any means, but someone could literally sit up there and you're overlooking the neighboring decks. So it eliminates a lot of privacy in addition to the trees that they're potentially removing.
Yeah, it does seem that they did remove number 4 and number 6. So the concerns about the balconies, is maybe taken off, and any existing balconies we can always see if there's I don't think that there is any other, well, there might be one other platform on a second story, and we can always ensure that there's privacy screen for that. And of course, with your concerns for forestry, it is subject to forestry, so you don't have to worry about the trees, etc. Whatever is going to be done will be done within the parameters of the bylaw as it relates to urban forestry.
Was there an architect report that was put forward or anything that clarified which trees were recommended to be removed or kept? I might have just missed that.
Madam Chair, there is a forestry deferral request.
Oh, there is a deferral.
Yeah, maybe we can just put it up on the screen for everybody to take a look at.
Thank you for raising that. Okay, I had just said it was subject to forestry, but there is a more detailed report that I don't seem to have. I must have missed that.
It's in the package.
Yeah, so that is that's a deferral request for this application, which members I'd like you to note, as I did not note that one. Mr. Dumond, before we go further into this, is there anything else that you'd like to share? I know you're representing a couple of neighbors. I just want to give you that quick opportunity before we move on to the next speaker.
I'll just mention one other thing. I just feel a little misled because of the plans, but one of the other items they keep referring to as a 2-story, and I recognize that it is a 2 stories above the garage, but technically it's a 3-story. And it does seem quite high, especially for a house that has a flat roof. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, that I got a little bit of advice from someone that the height is typical if there was a peaked roof, but for a flat roof, it is overreaching. So just wanted to make sure that we're considering that it's actually 3 stories, keeps being referred to by the applicant as a 2-story.
The proposed number of stories is 3. You are indeed correct. It's the bylaw says 2, but they are proposing 3 stories, of which let's just hear what the agent would like to describe further on that. He covered some of this, but we'd probably want to hear back from him on that. Okay, so that being said, let me just see if members have any questions. I don't know if Mr. Member Hunt was your hand up there or, okay. If there are no other questions then, let's move on to the next speaker, and then we'll invite the agent to share, you know, some rebuttals on some of these concerns. Nick Cardinal or Gina Cardinal?
Madam Chair, they are not present.
Okay, so they're not present. So we've heard quite a bit from Mr. Damone, who represents a couple of the neighbors, and maybe he is representing Nick and Gina as well. Maybe that's the neighbor that wasn't showing up here today, but let's invite back Mr. Malek. If you can come back out, you've heard some of the concerns that were shared. If this application was indeed deferred according to urban forestry, number one, how would that impact you? And then number two, if you can address all of the concerns that were raised, including privacy barriers for the balcony, and we'll give you some time to do that. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I'm just going by the item that the neighbor concerned. First, there will be going to be a new fence all around the property. And during the construction and before the demolishing, there will be a temporary construction fence at the front and side of the property to provide the security and then safety for the construction and a neighbor as well. We already submit all the urban arborist report with all the detail to the urban forestry. And they are reviewing it, and I think the deferral that they are proposing is just based on the timing that they need for the review. But what we are asking from the urban forestry for this proposal is just removal of the private tree in the backyard that is going to have conflict with our construction. So that's the report, and the arborist report actually supporting that, because the tree is not in a safe and a healthy condition, and all the details with the urban forestry. Going back to the confusion of the drawing or proposal, I understand the confusion. That's why I tried to explain it before. Because of the definition of the 2-story versus 3-story, the rear deck and then also the rear balcony at the second floor, these is all become part of the coverage of the building. Our building itself is on the 33% coverage, and is not exceeding from the neighbor on the site on 190 Haddington. So the building is not exceeding beyond their building as well. As I mentioned, only the part of the basement, as I shown, is extending to the backyard and then beyond the rear wall. And also the third story situation is caused the definition of the 3-story, and then the balcony is they calculated as part of the coverage. And then that's why it's going to 38, but it's not a livable space. And the building, as I mentioned again, is a 33% coverage. We removed the second floor. If I can ask the staff to show the front elevation and then after that the rear elevation, so I can explain the situation of the 3-story. So as you see, we have 2-story above the garage. That the white box on the left side of the elevation above the entrance that's the mezzanine that we is provide library and a study room. It's a very small study room with a very low height. It's also less than 8 foot. That because the definition of the bylaw is taking the foyer as a first story above the grade. So we have foyer and then mezzanine and then bedroom above it is become 3-story. But the actual house is 2-story. That's why I keep repeating the 2-story. Because the majority, I can say 90% of the floor plan is a 2-story. And I'm sure that this committee has the experience of seeing this kind of proposal before. Even I have in a couple of my buildings and projects. And then we got the approval based on this explanation, and then it was very reasonable as taking it as a 3-story by the definition, but it's a 2-story building. If we can see the rear elevation as well, please. So as you see the first floor, we have the balcony, which you see the railing, and then that is sliding door. The balcony above, which has access from the master bedroom. That's
I'll
a
ask you
balcony
to
that we
summarize,
are,
please.
Yeah, that's a balcony that we are removing it from the project and proposal, and then we are not having the variance. And then also to just cover the request of the privacy, we can provide the privacy fence on the west side of the deck as a standard. I think they are 5 foot privacy fence in order to give privacy for the owner and then also for the neighbor as well. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for that. Members, do you have any questions of Mr. Malik? Yes, Member Attarodi, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. I just would like to ask the applicant to just clarify if he modified variance number 7, the proposed lot coverage or not, because correct me if I'm wrong, that I've heard that the lot coverage you proposed was 32%.
I cannot revise that because still they taking this one as a 3-story and then rear deck is part of the coverage. So I cannot reduce that number. I'm just saying that the actual building coverage is a 33% as per our drawing. And but because of this deficiency, I'm sorry, just because of this 3-story situation, the coverage is extended to the 38%. I'm just trying to clarify that
Okay,
number.
thank you, because I've heard 32% from you. That's why I want to get clarification on that point. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions at all? If there are no other questions, please note what forestry has said, and if it is subject to forestry, it's subject to also their request for a deferral. A deferral could still also be your option regardless. He's made changes to variances numbers 6 and 4. That is elimination of those variances. Please note the one condition for staff report. There is one letter of objection on file, and please note his willingness to put a privacy screening on the balconies on the west side. So consider that as well with your motion. And can I get a motion, please? Member Bartolo with a motion. I think I saw you unmute your mic. You didn't put up your hand, but I'm right next to you.
No problem. My hand was on my way up. You're quick on the draw. I will put forward a motion. I just need one clarification from the applicant. Mr. Applicant, You had mentioned that the site is going to get a fence, but I just want to circle back to the privacy screen on the balcony. Is that something that you're willing to do on the west side?
Yes, that's what I mentioned, that we are going to do the privacy fence on the west side of the proposed deck.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. And is that noted on your latest drawings that have been submitted, or is this an ad hoc item just here today?
No, we're just adding it now.
Okay, no problem. All right, given the conversation here and the staff report and the changes made by the applicant, I'm satisfied that the application is in keeping with the nature of the neighborhood and not overly intrusive. Therefore, I'll put forward a motion to approve the application subject to the following conditions. Variance number 4 be eliminated, variance number 6 be eliminated, that a 1.5 meter privacy screen be established on the west side of the balcony noted on the drawing submitted, and that the condition of the staff report tying it to the drawings attached in attachments 1, 2, and 3 of the report dated September 26th be included as a condition of this application.
Thank you. Motion from Member Bartolo to approve this application with those conditions. Can I get someone to second? And Member Hunt seconds this. All those in favor? And all those dissenting? Member Manning and Member West are dissenting. And so that leaves me to make the decision. And what I will do is I will go with the motion of Member Bartolo, and this application has been approved with those conditions. I would suggest, Mr. Malik, that you do have a conversation and consult with the neighbors that came here today that were representing other neighbors as well, because I think it would also help for things that, you know, could be better explained to them, as well as exactly where those privacy screens, you know, would go. We said west side, but maybe there's an opportunity to do more than that. I would really strongly suggest that you talk to Mr. Damone and others in the nearest proximity of the housing project.
That's for sure, Madam Chair, and thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, just one more item before we break for lunch, and it could be a very quick one. Sorry, Mr. Ali Shakiri has been probably waiting a while, and this is item number 14, 237 Bedford Park Avenue. Mr. Shakiri, if you can come online and state your name and address for the record, please.
Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. And this is an application, members, to construct a proposal for a new 3-story single-family dwelling and detached rear yard garage. There's no one here to speak to this application. It is just 3 variances. Forestry conditions do apply. Do you require a presentation on this matter? There being none being required, Mr. Shakiri, is there anything you'd like to say before we take this into committee for decision-making?
No, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, that there being none, members, can I get a motion on this item? Member Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Given that there is no opposition, there were no department comments or concerns, and subject to the standard requirement of urban forestry, I move approval of this.
Okay. Member Hunt with a motion to approve this application as is, seconded by Member Bartolo. All those in favor? Your application has been approved. And I guess, Mr. Shakiri, we'll see you for item number 15 after the lunch break.
Looking forward.
Okay, thank you so much. Members, if we can break for lunch, do you want to come back at 2 o'clock or do you want to come back at 2:07? Do you want to do, can we do that? Are we allowed? Can we can't start early? Can't we just have, okay, so we have to follow due diligence and procedures. So Sorry about that, Mr. Shakiri. We'll see you back in an hour. Members, we'll break and we'll be back here by 2:06, 2:07, around there. Okay? All right, thank you.